7:03 on Monday, October 20th, 52 degrees, mostly sunny and windy today, highs in the 60s later. Good morning, I'm John Aaron.
I'm Michelle Basch. Our top story, this is day 20 now of the government shutdown. The Senate this week is expected to consider a Republican bill that would require the military as well as some federal workers to be paid during the shutdown. More now from WTOP's Mitchell Miller today on the Hill.
The legislation is designed to put pressure on Democrats, who up to this point have repeatedly voted down a GOP short-term spending bill that would reopen the government. Senate Majority Leader John Thune is frustrated with Democrats, who in addition to voting down a GOP continuing resolution related to the shutdown, blocked advancing the defense appropriations bill last week.
Who do Democrats really care about? Democrats.
But the Senate's top Democrat, Chuck Schumer, says his party is fighting on behalf of millions of Americans whose health insurance will skyrocket without a change to the Affordable Care Act subsidies.
Despite the enormity of the increase in costs that Americans will have to pay for their health care, Republicans continue to dig in.
On Capitol Hill, Mitchell Miller, WTOP News.
And the Trump administration's threats of federal employee layoffs amid the shutdown are worrying many in this region and all over the country. Federal News Network's Drew Friedman has more.
In a survey of over 1,000 Americans, nearly half of respondents said that if the federal employee firings move forward during the shutdown, they would be concerned about the effects on their communities. Paul Hitlin is Senior Research Manager at the Partnership for Public Service.
It definitely shows that the shutdown is not just an inside the Beltway story. It really is being noticed by people around the country.
The Partnership survey also found that close to half of Americans are seeing the shutdown's impacts directly, most commonly through travel delays, national park closures, and of course those who are out of work or facing missed paychecks. Drew Friedman, Federal News Network.
An American university professor was murdered 14 years ago. She was found beaten in her home in Bethesda. Jury selection begins today for her former friend and investment partner who's charged with first-degree murder. Here's WTOP's Neil Augenstein.
Montgomery County prosecutors and police say Sue Ann Markham was found in the basement of her home. She'd been beaten and asphyxiated, and her DNA was found under the fingernails of Jorge Rueda Landeros and on the murder weapon. While it's never been specified if the two had a romantic relationship, he was the sole beneficiary of Markham's $500,000 life insurance policy. She made the first contribution on a joint investment account and had expressed concern about how Landeros was managing the money. Landeros has maintained his innocence, but he stopped traveling back and forth to Mexico after being asked to give a DNA swab. A tip in 2022 led investigators to him in Mexico, living under an assumed name. Neil Augenstein, WTOP News.
The Washington Commanders suffered insult and injury in Dallas.
Daniels. The fake ball is loose. Cowboys recover. Clowney jumped on it. Oh. And Daniels is slow to get up.
That was a call on Fox just before quarterback Jaden Daniels exited the game in the third quarter with a hamstring injury after having his right leg turned awkwardly during a sack and fumble. The end result, an ugly 44-22 loss against the Cowboys. Aside from Daniels, the team has been struggling. Here's what WTOP sports anchor Dave Preston thinks.
Terry McLaurin has been a shell of his former self when he's been on the field. Deebo Samuel has been banged up. It's tough going to the 4th, 5th, and 6th guys on your depth chart and having that be plan A as opposed to plan B. And that's been a problem for this team this season. They've not been at full strength since week 1.
And we will hear more from Dave coming up.
Another huge and mega popular travel stop could be coming to Northern Virginia, and this evening residents get a chance to learn more. Here's WTOP's Sandy Kozel.
The Buc-ee's chain, with its massive travel centers, 120 gas pumps, and 800 parking spaces, doesn't have its own theme song, but comic Tim Hawkins likes to sing about it.
I do know we'll be stopping at Buc-ee's, time to have some fun. Like a gas station, car wash, barbecue, Cracker Barrel, Walmart, all in one.
He calls this his ode to the greatest store on the planet. We'll see if folks in Stafford County agree with him. The Texas company wants to build a third Virginia Buc-ee's there on Austin Ridge Drive along I-95. It's holding a community information session this evening at Colonial Forge High School. Potomac Local News reports some nearby homeowners worry about potential traffic impacts and say the site is too close to their neighborhoods. Sandy Kozel, WTOP News.
Coming up in Money News.
The leading economist says concerns about the state of the economy may be overstated. I'm Dan Ronan.
Traffic and weather in 30 seconds.